Okay. I'm going to set this here for just a second. This is our basic supplies that we started out with. Last week we needed, oops, I'm going to turn this upside down. There we go. Last week we needed these supplies, and I'm just doing this for the video later, in addition to our basics. And for this one, we needed 2 pieces of junk mail the same size, and we're going to make some side pockets. We made a top pocket last time, and we're going to make side pockets this time. Thanks, guys. I'm going to try it. I don't know how well it'll work. We'll find out. So now I was going to show you where my project stands. This is my first page that I made, and then I opened some plain envelopes so that I have some plain pages. Oops. And of course it's just all sitting in here. And then there's my pocket page, and then I opened another plain page. So this is where it stands right now, and I may come in and watercolor some of these papers later, but that's where I'm up to. And today I'm going to use 2 envelopes. So I have 2 envelopes. One I already cut open. I didn't think about it. I was cutting things open. They're both just business envelopes, junk mail. Hi Ruby. I'm glad you guys are. Okay, I'm going to close the envelopes with glue stick. So, can we see my paper? Yep. And I'm using glue stick instead of just licking it because I want it closed all the way to the edge. I want to turn these into 2 pieces of junk mail that are the same size. So I'm going to now open the top of my envelopes, and you can use whatever you have. If it's 8.5 by 11 pages, that's fine. Just 2 pieces that are the same size. And I don't know why I picked up the tiny scissors to cut this long piece, but I did. And this is how I open envelopes to use as my pages. As I just take a little tiny bit off of each. And now I have 2 pages. And I'm going to have to check. I don't think they're quite... Yep, they're the same size. So now what I'm going to do is I'm going to work on this side and this side, but not the inside. So guys, we're going to do these 2 sides, but we're not going to do anything here. Okay, so we're just going to do exactly what we did last time to get our base layer down. And just like last time, I cheated. I cut a bunch of stuff. I tore up a bunch of stuff ahead of time because I had some... It was about getting ready. So I am going to use my book pages and my security envelopes. I think it was Mindy used some music paper, which I thought was really pretty addition in there. what I like about this is that it gives me a similar color throughout my book. Yes, Becky, I cut the top. When I want to make pages, out of my envelopes, I glue my label down. Well, that's if they're not used. If they're used and they're ripped, I leave them ripped. So I cut this top part and I cut these two sides, and that gives me a page. Hi, Susan. You're just in time. We're just getting started. Okay, Becky? And that way I have pages for my book too. See, now this one, it was not glued. It was one that was ripped open, and I happen to like that, so I leave it. This one is just cut open. I didn't even glue the flap down on this one. These two I want to be the same size, so that is why I glued the flap down. Okay, Susan, that sounds good. It was you, Mindy. I thought it was you that I saw had added the music paper, and I thought that was a great addition. Now, we don't want to get these pieces too big again. I mean, they don't have to be tiny, but we don't want them huge. So just because that would block quite a bit of the, it would turn into a one big visual thing if it was huge. That's the only reason I say that. If you want, frankly, that I shouldn't say anything like that, because if you want them to be great big pieces, it's your book and your paper. So okay, Judy, you have fun with that, because that is way more important than this. Hi, Lori. Lori, are you going to play with us today? No, Barb, we're not gluing the envelopes together. We're using the envelopes as two pieces of junk mail that are the same size. Okay? If you had two, oh, last time I used, wait just a minute, I had them, where are they? These are the pieces from Netflix videos. They're two pieces that are the same size. Uh-oh, Lori, that's not good to be that tired. Anyways, you can use something like this. What I want you to do, though, is I only want you to put your book pages on one side of these pieces. Does that make sense, Judy? Okay, what do I want? What do I want? Okay. I need one more little piece right there. even if I'm guessing she's using one with the window, just if you've got the window and you don't want to leave the window in it, you can just glue your stuff right over the top of it. It's one of those things that's not going to matter one way or another. And you can leave your window or take your window out. Now, that background is done, except I'm going to trim all of the edges off. And I'm going to work on this other background until everybody's got one background finished. So when you get one background finished, say ready. And I'm going to trim the edges off of this one. And start working on the background on my next one. There we go. Totally junk. That's right. That's right, Mary. Totally junk. So now I have one piece of paper that's the same size as this one, and I'm going to do this background too. Let's put that up. Oh, let's not put it on the wet rag. Guys, I'm going to set this first page, the second page aside. And now here's the deal. When we get these finished, when we get them both finished, we're going to put them together like this. And we're going to fold them in half. Now, they can be folded, just because this is an envelope that normally folds this way, doesn't mean that I can't fold it this way, which actually is what I think I'm going to do. So just because it makes it easier for me to see where I'm at, I'm going to put a fold in it. And this piece, when we get done, it's going to be folded the other way because we're making some pockets. But now, you know how we always do this thing where we, boy, I didn't fold that very straight. That's okay, we can fix that. We always add some color before we add our focal points. So where did my color go? Oh dear. I'm going to use some magazine pages, and what I pulled out was magazine pages that had blocks of color that I liked. Okay, this one's just black, but I kind of liked it, and I may use that on one spot. So this is just color, and I'm just looking at the big chunks of color that I have here. And what I'm going to do, no, this one, I just like the color that's right here. Is I'm going to cut roughly 1-inch strips, and it doesn't have to be perfect, it doesn't have to be exact, because you know we don't have a lot of fancy supplies, so we're just doing fun. Uh-oh, I missed. Hi, Dawn. We're going to make a pocket, a side pocket today. And right now we're just adding some color. And we're going to do it. And Janet is so funny. Hi, Beth Ann. Okay. Joan, did I say hello? I hope so. Yes, I think I did. Okay, and Dawn's here, and Beth Ann's here. Well, hello, everybody. Anyways, Janet, it was so funny the other day when you posted your ruffled pockets, because today I want to add, we're going to add this color by adding ruffles, okay? And I'm going to put my, I guess maybe I should go ahead and, let me trim this down and fold it so you can see where I'm going with this. It will be easier to see. Okay. Now we're going to pretend that Tanya is as fast as everybody else and that she's done too. So this piece is folded with the decoration on the outside. This piece is going to be folded with the decoration on the inside. See here? Like so. And then when we put it together later, not right now, but when we put it together later, it's going to be a pocket that goes right here. Okay. Bye, Gloria. So what we're going to do now is we're going to, I don't want to tell you a fan fold, because what we're going to do is a ruffle. So we're going to pinch and fold, and pinch and fold. And are we measuring? Not me. You know, I don't measure a lot of stuff. I'm just going to pinch it and fold it like so. Now, give me 1 second to finish this little piece, and I will hold it up sideways. See? Is that making sense? Okay, I missed something. Oh, yes, Mindy, they were fantastic. And Janet, I love the idea of the ABC journal. Mary does the ABC journal, but it's a little different. It had big ABCs. Okay, so this ruffle is going to go on our pocket right here on the edge, like so. Okay. So once I get to that spot, I'm going to just glue this to this one, because it's not long enough. Oh, it would help if I used the right end of the glue stick. And I'm going to stick it in there. And I'm just going to pinch and fold again until I get enough little ruffle piece to edge my pocket. Now, because, is this making sense to everybody? Ruby, that's fine. I just wanted those that were finished to be able to go on. So, because I'm still working on my second piece. I just didn't get it done yet. So, what we're going to do is we're going to get 2 ruffles that are long enough. And I have to make another one in a few minutes, so okay, so is this long enough now? Yep, it's long enough. And I noticed that since I cut it just, you know, by freehand. Some of them don't line up real well, so I'll just trim that off. And I'm going to glue this ruffle down to the edge of my little book. Did I just cut that off too short? I might have. I did. Okay, so what I might do is go ahead and glue it. And that means I'm going to put the glue on here real good. And then I'm going to put some of my ruffle down so that it okay. Now I'll glue this one in. What I would say is it's better to have your ruffle a little too long than it is to have it too short. So you might want to just go ahead and make a really long piece. Now, once you get your ruffle on there, it's only glued on part of the back. So we're going to put a straight piece of another color over the edge of it. And I think I'm going to use some of this blue. And I'm just cutting a piece about a 1/2 inch wide. Okay, I wasn't paying attention to chat. Did I miss something? But Ruby, that's fine. If you're still working on your envelopes, that's hunky dory, because I'm going to be a minute catching up too. So but what we're going to do is we're just going to put this piece half on our ruffle and half on the paper, and that will glue our little ruffle down. So basically we've just created a little ruffled edge on our pocket. Okay, and you're going to do that to all 4 edges so that your pocket is, when you reach into your pocket, you're reaching into that ruffle. Okay, now I'm going to go back. The sink has to come in, and then I think the mirror and the towel bars and all that stuff has to be put on the wall. Sherry, if you don't like the ruffles, don't put the ruffles on. Period. It's yours. Now, the ruffles were to add some color. So last week we added color with some circles and things like that. Now I'm going to put my focal points on here, like kind of like so, afterwards. So whatever you want to do to add some color to go with your focal points, Sherry, that works fine. If you don't like the ruffles, don't put them on, because this is yours. You know, it's just about using something. Now, the thing you need to remember with your focal points is that your pieces of paper are folded in half, like so. So you're going to want sort of 4 focal points. Yes, if she could, Janet, she could put circles up the side. She could put she could just put a piece of this, and it doesn't have to be a straight line. It could be torn edge. It could be, it's just to add some color, Sherry. Okay, good. Let me think how to explain it. It's kind of like an accordion fold, but the first fold is like an accordion fold. But the next fold up, you don't want to fold even with this. You want to just fold it, say, 1/4 of an inch. And then you go up 1/4 of an inch from there and fold it down. So instead of folding it even with the last piece and making it like an accordion fold, you're folding sort of where it doesn't go all the way back down. It actually, the fold is where the front fold is. I'm sorry, I guess I should have thought more about how to explain it. It's kind of like stair steps. There we go. I can't show it. Let's see if I can show it to you. Okay, let's see. See how that looks? It's kind of like on the order of a stair step. And when it folds, now if we had a sewing machine, I'd sew along this edge right here. That would be cute too, if we were using our sewing machine. Barb, is that helping at all? Yeah, Janet, illuminated borders. There you go. Barb, I know you'll figure it out, but you're, you know, if you're not getting it, somebody else might not either, and I'm trying to figure another way to explain it. I learned a long time ago in teaching different kinds of classes, especially teaching sewing classes, that if someone's not getting it, usually it's because of the way I'm saying it. It's not that it's difficult, it's that I'm saying it in a way that they don't understand. And that if I change my language, then sometimes it's easier to figure out. There, that one's done now. Oh, look, I left a little spot. It's right where the little American Legion thing pokes out. I have to leave that there now. Let me think. Okay, let me get some more pieces so that I can... Okay, so, oh wow, that one's real fat. Oh, that one's thicky. Okay, Barb, I trimmed mine. When it wasn't straight, I trimmed it off. Barb, I know you have tools. If you happen to have a cutter, cut your strip straighter, and that might help. Because you do need to keep the edges lined up as you fold, and the fact that I didn't cut my strip straight did make it. Okay, that's try that, because maybe if your strip is not straight enough, it's causing more trouble. And then try to keep the edges of your strip lined up as you fold it back and forth. And that part's boring, so I'm going to take it off. Okay. Ew. That's good. And I may have kind of made my strip straighter by telling it what to do instead of allowing it to do something. When I glued it down, it may be more ruffled than I think. And I did let my ruffle hang over the edge a little bit. Janet, when you made your pockets, did you use a ruler to line up your little ruffles in your pockets? Okay, let me see if that piece is long enough for the other side. Okay, Becky, that works. Becky's going to use washi tape down hers. The idea is just to add some color in there. And look, see, it's still too short. It's amazing how long you need, how long a piece you need. Okay. Okay. Janet, that's... Now, when you go to glue your ruffle down, do make sure that you don't get glue on your other ruffle. Oops, that piece is not stuck. So... And I kind of lined my ruffle on this side up with the ruffle on the other side. It doesn't matter, it's just... Okay. And like I said, you gotta have something to put down over this little edge, because otherwise your ruffle is actually more like a flip book. Oh, that might be cool too. Hmm. Well, that one's really not straight. Okay. How are we all doing? Everybody doing okay? And I'm going to make an adjustment to my ruffle over here because it was really not straight. There we go. So now I have ruffle on both of the outside pieces. And now I'm going to get ruffle on my inside pieces. I think this is the first time you've been here. We're doing something that requires almost no store-bought supplies. It's called a Totally Junk Journal. And I started it because I hear people say, well, I don't have this or I don't have that. And so we're making something fun with our junk mail. And we're using different techniques and different things. To make it. Okay, I've lost my little scrapey card. Here it is. Okay. Excuse me just a minute, guys. Okay, now, guys, if you're working, can you stop for a second and pay attention here for just a second? Can I get everybody's attention? Yeah, Eva, that's what mine was. And I will swear to you that this stretch makes a huge difference. Okay, guys, what we have now is we have two pages, and they're not, this isn't pretty on the inside here. Okay, Becky. And so we have, if you don't have your ruffles done, that's okay. I just want to explain where we're headed. Because when you put your focal points on, you want to remember that these pages are not going to be side by side unless this is the very center of your signature. Likely they're going to be tucked in here with something else. Let me get this sorted out here. Something else in between them, like so. So that as we turn, we see this page, and then this page, and then further in the book, we see this page. So we want to put 4 focal points on. So each section here is going to get a little focal point. And I didn't put a lot of background on this time because this space is kind of small. Yes, Eva, please, just either email me. My email's usually in the video, in the videos, at the bottom of the videos, my email is there, but also on Facebook. You know where to find me. So anyways, I'm going to add some different focal points, and I'm going to add 4 of them. And this one may be all by its little lonesome. I haven't decided. But basically we have 4 pages here is the thing. Now, another thing though is that if you have a giant focal point like this one, it can be put in the middle. Just remember that you're not going to see the whole thing. So like if I put this like this, which is maybe what I'm going to do, this I'll see it'll look like that. That's the page I'll see. Okay? Janet, we're talking about adding the focal points and the fact that we actually have 4 pages, 1, 2, 3, 4, that we're working with. So we're just going to add our focal points. I need a fresh page here. And if you add a focal point across the gutter, you want to remember that it's not going to be the full piece. The other thing you want to remember about adding a focal point across the gutter is that it's going to fold, so you might want to fold it as soon as you get it glued down, everything glued down. You might want to go ahead and fold it again, so that sometimes it creates a crack, and if you fold it while it's wet, it won't crack so bad. Like right now, if I fold it, then it stretches that while it's still wet with the glue, is what I'm trying to say. And I think we'll just put it up there like, no, I don't like that. I'm going to put it on there. And you do want to kind of burnish down your focal point a little bit, because remember that this has got texture to it. Okay. Where are we at? I missed something. Okay. Okay, Janet. Thank you, Janet. You know, when you have pretty little images, that does help. I happened to find a stash of Birds and Blooms magazine at Jeff's dad's the other day, so I had one that I could cut up. Okay, so there's that one. And I think that we will put this let me put that one clear over there like that. Okay. You're talking about the ruffle, right, Joan? Kind of like a waterfall fold. That would be that would kind of be what I would think it would be called. Janet, Becky, can either one of you think of a better way to explain that fold? It's more of a pleat than a fold, is what. Yeah, I would say that, Joan, that's the way you could look at it. It's like a waterfall fold. And it's really more pleating it. If I were sewing, that would be a pleat. It's like a pleated skirt. it's pleated. It's really what it is. It's pleated. If you were to make a pleated skirt, that is how you would make it. They would be folded like that. Awesome, awesome. Okay. Uh-oh, I just tore my focal point. How about that? One nice thing about it is glue fixes everything. Great, guys. I'm really glad that it's making sense, at least. Ugh, my fingers are awful. Okay. Now, one of the things I noticed is that when I put these together, my ruffles are definitely uneven. And I kind of don't like that. See how this does that? So I'm going to trim it off. Now if it's there a little bit, I'm not going to worry about it, but it just was a lot. Okay, let's see about the other side. Now the other side I don't mind because I kind of like it because it's got color on it. I think the other side I didn't like because it was text. Okay, now in the past, I better work on that folded. In the past, I have gone around my focal points with a black pin. It just makes your focal points stand out a little bit. See here? So I'm going to do that. And I had been using a micron pen, but I hunted up this pit pen, and I think I like it a little bit better. It just gives me a little bit more width to my, it's a heavier pen, it's thicker. And it's a brush tip pen, so it just kind of went around something I was doing the other day better. Thanks, Janet. Now, like Janet said earlier, and Becky's gonna do, instead of this ruffle or pleated edge, you could always put washi tape over there. You could just put down a piece of colored paper over there. You could put some lace over there. Piece of fabric over there would be cute. But since we're trying to use our junk mail, that's what I'm using as my junk, is an old magazine, so that it's on the order of using the junk. Once you finish reading the magazine, instead of going in the recycle bin, it gets turned into art. Janet, I am going to stitch the top and the bottom closed. Yes. So that is a side pocket. That's a very good question. I'll stop this for 1 second and show you where that's going to be. Maybe I'll put some glue on it too. But what I'm going to do is I'm going to put these together like this, and I'm going to glue right here. As a matter of fact, let's just do it, because if the glue, then once the glue dries, then it will be done, and then I can stitch it after the fact. So what I'm going to do, this is the outside piece, like so, And I'm going to put glue all right here. And all right here. Now, if you're not going to do any stitching like I'm going to do, you might want to use a different glue. Just FYI. Use aqua glue or tacky glue. Yep, blinger buttons. Okay. And then we glue it in like so. And now we have pocket right here. Well, see, my glue's not stuck, so you don't want to go sticking your hand in it too much, but you'll have a pocket right there. Now I'm going to finish putting the edges around I'm going to finish drawing around. Okay, guys, make sure that when you put your pieces together that they're right side up. Okay, so that this one is right side up and this one is right side up. Yes, a hole punch works fine. I'm going to poke holes in this with my little punchy tool. But make sure that your since we put our focal points on already, make sure your focal points are right side up before you stick things down, because otherwise you've got your pocket upside down. Okay, but then once I've got my outlines done, I'm going to stitch this like we stitched last week. However, I've got some hangover I don't like. In other words, I'm trimming again. There we go. All right. And I'll show you guys how I'm going to stitch this up in just a minute or two. I just want to do my focal points real quick here. Anything you add, this is your book, so really and truly there are no rules. I just have been trying to show you a little bit of a different technique each time. Something that, you know, you can use to do something different. This would be real cute with scrapbook paper, you know, that's all printed. It'd be cute to put pleats in with fabric, pleated muslin or silk ribbon or something. And you know, Janet, somewhere I have a 1/16 inch hole punch too, so that would have worked real well to stitch things the other day, but I forgot to get it out, so I didn't. Okay. You know, that butterfly just needs some added attitude here. I may have to hunt up another pen. There we go. I know his body is supposed to be brown, but there we go. I like him better now. Yeah, I have a 16th inch hole punch is what I have. I think it's in my show stuff from when we did bead shows, because I used it to make hang tags and holes in my cards for earrings. You know, I used a special kind of laminated card that I made to put my earrings on display, things like that. And I think that's where the hole punch is, and I just didn't go through those tubs to get it out. There we go. One of the things too is when we glue those edges together, if you are not going to sew them, using tacky glue is a good idea. But if you are going to sew them, using tacky glue is not a good idea, because tacky glue, one of the reasons they call it tacky glue is it stays a little bit rubbery, not really tacky, but it doesn't dry real dry. It dries and has a flexibility to it, and that can sometimes make a problem when you're sewing through it. I got real quiet, sorry guys. And I'm not paying any attention to chat. I hope I haven't missed anything. Oh, Eva's going. Bye, Eva. Guys, make sure, no giving up, Ruby. No giving up. I'm pretty sure it's better than you think. Eva, make sure you check the Facebook page for the things we need next time. Yes, Joan, I made the glass beads. Now, I didn't make the tiny ones. I made the yellow ones with the little blue dots on them. That's about the smallest bead that I make. I'm glad you like your earrings. But yeah, I make the beads. One of these days I'll have to try to set up. It's not the easiest thing to video, because you know the torch flame is kind of an odd thing to have in a picture. It doesn't necessarily work real well. Eva, I'm so glad you had fun. Okay. Okay, now I'm going to, just like we did last week, because I want to make sure that my edges stay together for my pocket. See, because my pocket is here, I'm going to stitch it. So I need my pokey tool or my punch, and I'm going to poke holes along this edge and along this edge, about 1/4 inch apart. Ruby, I'll bet it's better than you think. I really do. I really think it'll be better than you think it is. Ugh, my book doesn't want to stay open today. Okay. And I'm just poking holes about every 1/4 inch. And the reason I'm poking the holes ahead of time is because I don't want to kill my hand trying to sew through these, and it's not working very well. There we go. Maybe that will work. Yeah, that works better. It's about the way you get positioned with your pokey tool. Okay, now that one didn't want to go through, and that's probably because there's something heavy behind it. Now I'm not going to sew clear out to the edge of my ruffle because the ruffle goes beyond where my paper is. So that's about as far out as I'm going to go. Oh, sometimes it gets stiff right there. And whatever you do, be careful, don't poke your finger. That, Janet, is why it would be better to have the punch. Because this thing is sharp. It could go through your fingers. Joan, I've been making beads. I think I figured out the other day. We're going on 20 years here. I started making beads when we were in Nebraska, so it's not quite that long, but close. And I was working in a school. I worked in a behavior room. And I got to the point where I wasn't going to be able to do that anymore. And I told you know, we didn't have to have my income, but it was nice. And I told my husband I wanted to try to make beads and make money at making beads, and he said to go ahead and do it. So I did. And it had grown and grown and grown and grown, and the last few years I had to have Jeffrey helping me at the shows because some of the shows were too big for me to do by myself. He was still working, so we would have to drive out and drive back, but we did it. And then we got in a wreck, and that kind of ended that, so I've been doing it on the internet since. So now, Janet, I don't know that I'm going to, I don't know. Down here, I don't think I want things dangling from it because that's at the bottom. So I may leave strings at the top, but not at the bottom. And I used up my little scrappy the other day, so I think I'm just going to use some of this. So everybody must be working because they are all very quiet. I cut way too much thread. And I should know better. Oh well. I'm going to leave a tail though so that I can sew through it or tie it when I get back here. I'll just tie it and not leave a long stringy one. So, and I'm just going to sew it like I did last week. If you want to sew it with a different stitch, there again, you can do that. If you want to sew it on your sewing machine, you can do that. Make sure your glue is completely dry before you do that. Because we don't want any glue on our needle and stuck in our sewing machine and going down inside. Great, Barb. I'm sorry that they were frustrating. And Joan, we had a discussion. They're kind of like pleats instead of ruffles, and maybe if I had said pleated, see, I told you if I used a different word, sometimes it makes more sense to someone. So I should have said pleated, not so much ruffled. Barb, did you hear after your ruffles though you put your focal points on? Let's see, Mary, no worries. Okay, no worries. That's what we want to hear. It's supposed to be fun. Mary and Jerry have gone.